Good morning, guys. MWUSA Season 2, Episode 220. It is a Tuesday morning. It is 25 degrees outside. Just heading out for the day. It is early. Looks like it's going to be clear skies, though. And frost on the ground right now. So gotta bundle up, stay warm, stay healthy. Today I was supposed to be at work, but I used an excuse to get out of work. Yesterday I actually went to the office and scanned my card to get in, and then left, which shows that I was there because of the log, in case anyone ever looks. Today I sent a message to my manager early and told him I had an emergency and I would need to stay home, and he agreed. So that's all good. So we are off and going. Today it's going to be the second day of what looks like 5 or 6 days that we're going to play this week, help us get back on target. Last week took us from being about 4,000 behind to about 8,000 behind for our goal for the year to date. So at this point, I need to make almost $1,000 a day every day for the rest of the year. Oh, there's a doe running in front of my car. You gotta love the Midwest. It's like no big deal. So I need to make about $1,000 a day for the rest of the year to be on target. So today is going to be a lower opportunity day, hoping for about 1,500 would be nice. Tomorrow we're going to try to push it, try to get 2,500, and then hopefully be a little bit closer to being on target. If I can get maybe 7,000 or 8,000 this week, that would get me within 4,000 of my target, because of course the target's always moving. And I'd feel a lot better about getting there for the year. If not, it's not a big deal. I'm not going to kill myself doing it. But anyway, today I am doing a normal route backwards, which has kind of become a habit. I'm doing it backwards about 30% of the time, so I can't call it backwards anymore. Maybe I just call it a different route. But I'm off and going here early in the morning before 7 o'clock. The sun is just barely starting to come up, and I'll be back to update you, let you know how things are going after the first spot. Alright guys, I am back. So finally got to the first spot and walked in and immediately saw a play. It was at $4 a spin. Sat down, played that through, took about 90 seconds to play it through, and ended up ahead $86 on that play. Then walked around looking for other things. I saw possibly one other person in there checking machines, but I'm not 100% convinced. I think maybe someone was here around 6 a.m. or so, and they figured nothing else would be available for a while. It was early enough that I parked in the VIP area, and the VIP entrance was still closed because obviously, God forbid, they spend any money on people to sit over there. So it wasn't very busy, but I was able to find something to play and made a little bit of money. And that's sufficient, really. I mean, if I average a couple $100 per stop, that's $250,000 a year. So, one step at a time, we'll get there. I think we're close to 1,200 stops for the year. So already, and we still have, 1/7 or 1/8 of the year to go. So you would definitely get $250,000 doing what I'm doing, making $200 a stop on average. So obviously you're going to have ups and downs. You want a lot more than that, but anyway, other than that one guy that I thought I saw, I didn't really see anyone else. I saw some borderline plays, just weren't worth it, and so I let it go. So right now we're moving on to another place. The next stop is about 45 minutes away, and then the one after that would be about another 40 minutes away. So we're just gonna take our time. We're gonna get there, and we're gonna make some money. So letting you go for now. I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. I moved on to the next place and walked in. First thing I saw in the parking lot as I was coming in was very few cars, so I figured probably not very much opportunity. I walked in, started looking around. First thing I saw was someone checking machines. So then it confirmed that I'm probably not going to find anything. I started walking around the place, and there were a few machines that I had checked days ago that still had my cash out on the screen. So that tells you that some of these machines are being played so little now, and probably to expect that they're going to be replaced. Anyway, walked around, found 2 plays. Both of them didn't play very well, and ended the session ahead $18. So not really much going on there. Plus $18. I came back to the car, and I've got my laptop in here with me. Look at the screen, and a meeting that was scheduled for tomorrow was moved to this morning. It starts in about 3 minutes. So I'm going to hop on that meeting on my drive to the next spot, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do from there. But right now, very quiet morning, not much happening, not much money being made, and hopefully things turn around at the next stop. So letting you go for now, and I'll be back. All right, guys, it is 6 hours later. What a ride that was. I am going to skip the next casino because, needless to say, I'm a little bit behind schedule right now. I walked into this place, and there was one blackjack table open. Nobody there. I sit down, start playing. Actually, I think there was one person there. Sit down, start playing, and have a horrendous first shoe, spreading from 50 to 300. And I end up down 1,500 on the first shoe. 1,500 on the first shoe, spreading from 50 to 300. I just let that sink in for a second. That's 30 bets when I'm going to get 50 or 60 bets in that shoe. So I'm down by 30. It's awful, unbelievable. I played with a variety of people today. It's all swirling in my head right now, but I got to the point where I was down about $4,000 and still betting 50 to 300. And it happened so fast. It's like I just spotted them, $4,000. Here, take this money. And then started clawing my way back. And I'm trying to remember all these different people. So I played with one guy, older black guy, and played with him for about at least an hour and a half. Good player. He did almost all the right things, although some doubles he didn't take, some splits he didn't do properly. Like he doubled 2 4s against an 8, which is like blow your mind. And he doubled what else did he double that was weird? I was trying to think. He hit 2 4s against a 5 quite a few times. Just overall, more of a reckless player. I guess more average player as far as betting. I was going to say he's reckless as far as betting, but I guess that's pretty average for people to do that. Go, 100, 200, 500, 1,000, back to 100. And that's the way he was playing, and it worked for him for a while, and he was ahead 2,000 or 3,000, and then he said something which made me lose all respect for him. He said, yeah, I'm up for this table, but I was playing free bet earlier, and I didn't do too well there. And I'm thinking to myself, gee, do you think so? Playing high limit free bet is probably not the wisest thing in the world. Oh my gosh. Anyway, he ended up, he had bought in for about 2,000. He had it up to about 5. And then he rebought for 900 more and 1,000 more. And then he left and lost it all. the tide raises all boats, so to speak. So, I mean, I was going down when he was going down, because although my bets were smaller when the counts were negative, I was losing just like he was losing. It was that's just what was happening at that point. The dealer was making cards. He was making hands. So, anyway, he was gone. And then, older white man actually was there when I first got to the table. He was probably 65 or 70, and he had $20,000 in $1,000 chips, and then a bunch of stacks of $100 chips. So he probably had 23,000 when I got there. And he played this game where he'd play $50 a hand, then 2 hands of 50, then 2 hands of 1,000. And he was definitely not counting, because he was doing it at the worst possible time. And just like I talked about in the last episode, whoever's sitting next to me was getting all the aces and the blackjacks, and that's what was happening there. He was getting all the blackjacks. He got so many blackjacks. He played things so terribly, and he still ended up leaving ahead $5,025, I believe. So he did well. He left. And then another guy came and sat next to me. He played for a long time, and he bought in for $3,000. I think he owns a construction company, and he ended up leaving with like $3,100 after about an hour. Then the older black gentleman was playing next to me, and then an Asian woman played next to me, and she was just screwy, had no clue what she was doing, playing minimum bet. It's a discussion. Every hand is a discussion. I think she thought she was at the baccarat table, because every hand was a long discussion, wanted to talk, and the dealer was already slow. He was so slow. MW, how slow was he? He was so slow that I actually thought he was counting cards just to verify what I was doing, because he was that slow. But then I confirmed it in a couple of places where he couldn't have been because of the things that happened. So anyway, every time the brake runner would come, she was ultra fast. Like, he was doing probably 110, 120 hands an hour. She was probably doing 350 an hour, and she was nice and everything else. I think she was hard of hearing, but so at my lowest point, I was involved for $5,500. At my lowest point, I was all in. I actually had a $500 hand, and I was all in. Overall, as far as double downs, I was probably, not exaggerating, 10% winner on double downs. As far as aces, splitting aces, you cannot resplit aces here. And me and the dealer counted. I had 10 sets of aces that I split. On 3 occasions, I won 1, lost 1. And on 7 occasions, I lost both hands. And that's the kind of stuff that was going on. And all of it was just horrible. I don't know how I survived it. I started clawing back, and I just wouldn't let it go. And like I said, I was at the table for 6 hours. I don't know. It's just one of those days where no matter what you did, the craziest things would happen. You have an 8 against a 7, they'd pull 5 or 6 cards. The dealer had 7 cards at one point and only ended up with a 17. Do you realize how improbable it is to have 7 cards and only have a 17? It's insane. But this is the kind of stuff that was happening, and I was putting up with it, and I was trying to stay cool, and I bet the right way, and I didn't make the wrong plays. I'm trying to think, was there one play? I think there was one play where I made the wrong decision. I think it was a running like -2 or -3. I had a 12 against a 4, and I waved it off, and then I said, no, I want to hit it. And he had already given the card to himself, and I won the hand, and I would have lost the hand. And I'm like, damn it. And he said, well, why are you upset? You won the hand. And I said, because I did something wrong. I couldn't really explain it to him, How am I going to explain it to him? You're an idiot, and I know what I'm doing. And then there were all these hands. At one point in one shoe, I had a running, get ready for this, hold on to your seat here, don't fall down, running +30 with just over a deck to go. and I was spreading 50 to 300. I raised my bet to 500. I raised it to 600. I raised it to 700. I raised it to 800 because the count kept on going up and up and up, and nobody was bothering me. No one's giving me a hard time, you know. And I ended up losing most of those hands at the end there. But that's the point where I had 500 on the table, and I went all in on the last hand of the shoe, and I ended up getting a 20 against 19 or something like that, and that kept me going. There was a point where the pit boss made a mistake. So the dealer made a mistake on at least one hand. There was a guy who had a soft 19 with like 3 or 4 cards, and the dealer had a 20. And of course, he was too embarrassed probably to count it over and over again. And the guy wasn't reaching for chips, so he paid the guy. And I'm not going to say anything. But there was a point where I was in for 4,500. And even before that, I had talked to the pit boss. I said, "Oh, I bought in for 500 more. You probably didn't hear it." And he said, "Why does it matter? You're playing unrated." And I said, "Okay, fine. I'll zip it. Fine. That's okay with me." So later on, when I was at 4,500 and I bought in for 1,000 because I had a big high count and I had the act going, you know, I had the big chips out there, and you know, that's it. I'm going to do this, you know, all that kind of stuff. I bought in for 1,000. She puts me in, or she approves it verbally and doesn't come over till later, and then she says, "Well, it looks like you're just about even." At one point, I was down about 800 at that point, and she's like, "Oh no, you're in for another 1,000, so you're in for 5,500." And so she runs over to the phone, and I said to the dealer, she forgot to call security when I hit 5,000, and he was ignorant, had no clue. I tell you, this casino in particular has some really excellent dealers and some horrible dealers. It doesn't really have a lot of in between. So, you know, I'm going to say probably because a lot of them are new. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, but some of them are so good and some of them are so horrendous as dealers. So how did I end up? At one point, I was down as little as 800, and then as little as 1,000, and then as little as 1,500, and then as little as 1,000 again, and I just couldn't make it work. And I'd been there for 6 hours, and I was tired, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I just didn't want to play anymore. I hung in there as long as I could. I finally left the first table for a second table after about 5 hours and 45 minutes because I had a running 19 count, minus 19 count, around the middle of a shoe. That's when I was playing with the Asian lady, and the combination of her playing slow and the dealer playing slow, and the dealer misunderstanding what she was saying over and over again. And he's telling her that she's wrong, but she's talking about a whole different thing, and I can understand every word. I've been playing with Asian people for 30 years. I totally understand what they're saying and where they're going with their what they're talking about. But it was so slow, and that count was so negative. I finally switched tables, and that's where I wrapped up my session. And I got close to even, but I just couldn't get there. And I just thought it was best for me at this point, not having had breakfast yet, and it's 5 p.m., that it's probably a good idea to take a trip to the bathroom, relax, and grab some food. So right now, I am leaving the casino. I ended up minus 1,500 for the session. I have to say, I don't regret anything except losing. But other than that, I did everything right, did all the things I was supposed to do, and I don't regret it at all. This casino has a limit of 3,000 before you have to give ID. I cashed out 2,500, and then I went to the poker area, cashed out 1,500, and that's how I got it all out of there. But right now, like I said, I was supposed to go to a nearby casino. I am so far behind schedule right now. I should be almost home right now, and I'm still 4 hours away from home. So I'm going to move on to another place, but a lot closer out. So I'm going to take a few hour drive here, and then stop at this other place and see how things go there, and then continue my trip. So letting you go for now, and I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. I had a few hours here to think about it, and I just don't see what I could have done differently. Did everything right. It's just one of those days where the session was not going to come out positive no matter what. And so often I got, so close and had the big bets out there, and they would falter, and there's nothing I could do. There's nothing I could do. You kind of feel like you were robbed when you did the job exactly the way you're supposed to, and you were there for so long, did all the right things, and stayed patient. And honestly, I probably didn't get the number of hands that I should have gotten. I probably only averaged, even with a good dealer, probably ended up with about 900 hands. But could have been a lot more. I know for sure if I had a faster dealer, things maybe would have turned out better, because I would have had more hands and more opportunities to do the right thing. But one of the most difficult things to do as a card counter is to be down and not want to raise your bet when it's not called for. So in other words, you're usually down 500 or 1,000. All of a sudden you're down tons of money, twice or three times what you're normally down. And something in us as human beings makes us want to raise our bet to get the money back faster and take a risk. But I've learned the hard way that is not the right way to do it, and you have to just stay true to what you wanted to do. Now, I admit, earlier today I did have those hands where I bet a lot more, but that's because the count was going up, and I was limiting myself to $300 a hand because I was trying to stay under the radar. But at that point, it looked like I was desperate. It looked like I was a gambler. It looked like I didn't know what I was doing. And I had basically the opportunity to raise more than I normally would have, because they didn't see it coming. They saw me as desperate and making a move and trying to get something done. But I have to tell you, I pretty much outlasted everybody around, dealers, other players, everybody. And, I did all the right things. So my conclusion, I did everything correctly. I'm not going to be hard on myself for any hand today. I cannot think of one hand today that I played incorrectly. Even that 12 against the 14, I was trying to make the right move when he took the card, and I actually won the hand, not lost it. So anyway, letting you go for now. I'm getting close to the next spot, and I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. It's a few hours later, and I went into the next place, and there was nothing good happening. Everything I played went awfully. So, bad day today. I played one machine at $3 a spin and was down as much as 589 on it, and came back and ended up down a couple hundred on it, and then went and played a couple other machines. And then something interesting happened that I've never seen this before, but I was curious. I was playing a game, and there was a guy next to me also playing the same game with a jackpot that was connected. So when anyone put any money in any of these machines that were connected to each other, the jackpots would go up by whatever, a penny, 2 pennies, whatever it might be. So the interesting thing is, each level, 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, 25 cent, $1, and $2 levels on this game, they each had their own jackpots. And I know, like with must-hit buys, whoever hits it first gets it, right? For sure, whoever hits it first is going to get it, even if they're linked together. But something interesting happened on this one. This one had a feature that you had to push the button multiple times to complete the feature, and then it would pay you whatever you won. And he and I both hit the same jackpot, and he hit it first, and then he was taking his time watching the screen, enjoying himself and all that, and I just pushed the button real quick just to see the outcome. And what happened was, although he hit the jackpot first, it awarded it to me, and it awarded him the reset level of the jackpot. So the odd thing about that is, I thought once you spun the reels, it was already decided how much you're going to win, right? So he spun the reels, and it was over, right? Supposedly, whatever the amount was, he was going to get. I spun the reels probably 3 or 4 seconds later, and I hit it also. But since I went through all the, whatever, the hype, all the things that it shows you on the screen to make you feel good, since I went through that faster than him, it paid it to me. So I'm interested, if anybody knows the answer to this, how that works. I guess that's just the way it works if it's not a must-hit buy. Must-hit buys will pay instantly, and otherwise, if they're linked together and there's some kind of a feature going on, although someone might hit it first, so if you're going to hit it and other people are playing, you might want to rush through it and get the higher amount. So that's, all the years I've been playing, I had never run into that before, and that was an interesting thing. Anyway, so by the time everything was done, I ended the session minus $63. So, one of those days. It's dark already. I've lost money, I haven't made money, and I really haven't eaten. So I'm heading over to the next casino, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do about some breakfast, even though it's already dark and haven't eaten anything yet. So letting you go for now. I'll be back. Alright guys, I am back. So I went into the next casino, walked in, started checking machines, and wasn't seeing too much at first, but then I found a decent play, sat down and started playing that. And as I started playing it, one of the locals came up to me and started talking to me about the goings-on there and what was happening and everything. And this casino is one that I visited this morning. It was the first casino that I went to this morning. And I just looked around briefly and got whatever I could and got out of there. Now, there is a machine that I normally check, but I don't take too seriously, because in this particular place, it doesn't pay very well at all. So unless it's imminent that it's going to hit, I usually don't play it. So this man comes up to me and starts talking to me as I'm making my first play. And he says that he walked in and he found a play on that machine this morning, which is right around the time that I was there. And it was at $30 a spin, and within a few spins he hit for $2,000. So I don't know if, it was there when I was there. I was there pretty early in the morning. Not all the doors were even open when I got there, so I'm not sure if that had anything to do with anything that I played. So I finished my play, and I was down probably $40 or $50 on it, and then moved on to, actually I was down $37, I remember. Moved on to another play, played that through, and ended up down about $10 for the session after that play, and that was a long play. And then moved on, found a couple other plays, and they paid a lot better, and I was able to kind of get my money back and start moving forward. This morning, actually this afternoon, they had a giveaway at this place, and I was too early this morning and too late this evening for it. But what are you going to do? I walked around, looked at everything, and then when I was leaving, I swiped my card through the kiosk, and it gave me $10 in free play, which I wasn't expecting. So now I'd already looked at everything. I'd already played everything I wanted to play for the day, and now there's a $10 free play. So I just walked up to just a generic machine that is not any kind of machine that can be taken advantage of, because the ones that you can beat pay horribly when they're not in position to be beat. So you definitely don't want to play those with any free play or anything, unless you've got just a ton of free play and you don't know what to do with it. So anyway, I played that through, got like $3 out of the $10, and ended up leaving the place. So by the time I was done, I left ahead $221. So that was pretty good. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, That's my best hit of the day, unfortunately, plus $221. And then I went and got something to eat, and right now I'm driving toward home. I am pulling over right now to get some gas, and then I will continue my journey. But it's been a crazy day, and unfortunately we didn't make any money, but hopefully tomorrow will be a lot better. I'm going to be extremely tired. When I get home, I've got a lot of work to do for the office, and then I got to get up super early for a very long drive tomorrow, and we'll see how things go tomorrow. So letting you go for now. If you have any questions or comments, it's mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.